Okay. Okay, go ahead.
All right, so welcome to the 18th episode of the How to Build a Black Nation with Power podcast. This podcast is about understanding and bringing together the many pieces of our empowerment and freedom puzzle under one unified umbrella, under one unified roof as much as possible, to ensure we don't become a permanent underclass in the country that was built on the backs of our ancestors. Taking into consideration what our people have done and what so many are still doing, our empowerment and freedom march is most certainly not starting at square one. My name is Tamani Mwandani. I am the founder of the Black Gold Nation. I am the direct product of the Shrines of the Black Madonna's efforts since 1953 to build a nation within this nation to liberate and save Black people. The Black Gold Nation is headquartered out of Houston, Texas, which is where I am. My co-host is Sister Shannon Ingram. Sister Shannon is a Black Gold ambassador in training in the Black Gold Nation, and she resides in Denver, Colorado. The podcast is titled How to Build a Black Nation with Power, because we, the Black Gold Nation, are trying to get our people to understand that this is possible if we have certain things in place. And those things that we need are a strong foundation, which we have. The Black Gold Nation is built upon the Shrines of the Black Madonna, which again started in 1953. You have to have strong leadership who know what they're doing in the critical areas by which we're being attacked and destroyed. And you have to have a spiritual connection with the higher power and your people. Without those three things, we cannot build a Black nation with power. And that's what we focus on in this podcast. And of course, as I said, one of those key areas is leadership. And the brother that we are interviewing tonight most certainly has that in spades. So tonight's guest on the show is Brother Cary Jr., who is the National Director for the Black Gold Nation's Agribusiness and Food Systems Economics Department, as well as the National Director for our Infrastructure and Development Department. Tonight's episode, we're going to focus on Brother Cary's expertise as an engineer for the Infrastructure and Development Department. So first, Brother Cary, let me thank you for taking the time to be here. We've gone back and forth, God knows how many times, to try and get this done because you are so busy. So I do sincerely appreciate, brother, you finally making some time so we can knock this out and keep it moving. So I do appreciate you taking time out to be here. It does matter and it is important.
Well, thank you. I always thank you for the opportunity, though. I always give a word or two when I can.
Cool. Amen. All right. So a bit about Brother Cary. Brother Cary is the founder and general manager of SIMPA, Southeast Michigan Producers Association. This organization was established to assist small rural African-American/underserved producers outside of Detroit, Michigan, in collaborating to build their capacities and provide fresh produce in the food insecure areas in the city. The group began with 7 farmers with the potential of incorporating 25 farms with over 1,000 acres in the Detroit region. SIMPA coordinates training, marketing, and processes necessary to develop a local food system. Brother Cary has been actively promoting SIMPA's efforts around the country through presentations at food and farming conferences. His objective is to bring awareness to obtaining food sovereignty to most of these vulnerable populations with local food systems. He holds degrees from Morehouse College. He has his Bachelor's of Science from Morehouse, the University of Michigan, and Dartmouth College's Tuck School of Business. Okay, Brother Cary, before I get to the first question, is there anything that I missed or didn't mention that you would like to add from your bio?
No, that was quite a bit there. Probably a bit more than
yeah, it's heavy on the SIMPA side because that's what I know you being most active as. So again, this part of this interview is about the civil engineering side, and you're being over our infrastructure and development department. So with that, we're going to jump right into it. The first question, you went to school to become a civil engineer. First question, why engineering and why that particular kind of engineer?
Well, first of all, because like most of us, we dream to try to help make a difference in the world, and we actually engineers, our primary purpose, what we do is we identify resources, around us and combine them to help resolve problems. Of course, most of the time we're talking about, physical things here on the earth. My particular degree, specifically civil construction engineer, basically what I pretty much do is project management. I coordinate projects, you identify, the contractors, interpret engineering design, and make sure coordinate the equipment and stuff, delivery and stuff like that. So we can make sure when we do a construction project, it moves smoothly, we get everything done. And of course, we always, the main thing is managing the costs and the schedule. That's my specific area of civil, there are so several other areas people go into. Engineering in general, they're mechanical, they're electrical, chemical, petroleum engineers. Civil engineers, in my opinion, and probably the evidence what we're talking about, you're gonna see we do more to have immediate impact to day-to-day lives of human beings. Even when I was coming to school, civil engineer, when it comes down the list of starting salaries, we were always at the bottom. Because on the average, most civil engineers work for government, we typically, whether it's a state, county, or local government. But we have a greater impact on what goes on. And your job thing is there's more longevity, I think, I would say, in being a civil engineer. Like I said, we can put our hands on projects that we've done that we can be proud of, that we say to help improve community. So
okay.
That answer the question?
It did actually. And before I get to the next one, you said civil construction engineer.
Yes.
Is there a difference between a civil construction engineer and a civil engineer, or is it always, or is that, are those the same?
No, the reason I say that, because civil engineering is really broken down to eight different. We do eight different things.
Okay.
Civil engineers are, they're structural. We break it out into eight main things. They're structural engineers, environmental engineers, geotechnical engineers, transportation engineers, water resource engineers, surveyors, I'm sure that, then construction in my area, and then they call municipal engineers. All those people are technically civil engineers. We're just, construction was just like, so I can say civil/water resources. So we say civil because that's the general thing, but that's like the more specific area of what a person may do. Like I said, so with all those different ones, and I give you a little bit about what they do and how they all impact. Most of those have immediate, some kind of immediate impact on how we live day to day.
Okay.
That's why I said civil/construction.
Right.
Now you want me to? Just stick with construction to keep it. I say civil because we said civil engineer, but again, like I said, 8 branches. I was going to give you a little bit about each one of those, so I can. No, I can be quick.
No. Okay, go ahead if you want to. As long as it's quick.
No, I'm gonna say what I said. Structural engineer, right?
Okay, wait. Okay, Shannon, for the record, this is not me extending the interview. He's adding information, so I'm just saying.
No, but I'm trying to educate. So when people see civil engineer, they know exactly what it is.
Okay,
there's a reason why I'm saying it too. Explain why a lot of us don't understand what it is, and we don't have a lot of us going into it. But yet, the opportunities are great. But anyway, of the 8 branches, I already told you what construction is. You know what I do. Structural, they're the ones that you see steel and concrete going up, responsible for the design of buildings. Environmental, they're the ones who review air pollution and water and soil contamination. Geotech, they're the ones responsible for ground strength. When you build a building, you got to know what your ground, how stable your ground is. Mm-hmm. You know about earthquakes. We have to study earthquakes, and we have to understand about sinkholes.
Okay.
See, this is all civil engineering stuff that people don't think about.
Yeah.
Of course, transportation and road and bridges. Water resources, we're the ones responsible for transferring your drinking water into your house, and then the sanitary stuff that leads to go back out to the sanitary treatment plant. So those are civil engineers on the water resources side. Survey, if you do your land parcel, your property, you get a process and you get these things by degree. This big detailed thing explain exactly what your property is. That's survey engineering, which is again a division of civil engineering. And then you got municipal engineer, which is a person that pretty much takes all of that and they work for a city and try to figure out how to make, whatever if each one of those other areas, like the water, whatever, they kind of can coordinate those for a city. So those are the areas civil engineers, like I said, there's quite a bit of stuff that we do to have immediate impact on the day-to-day lives a lot of people don't know about. And that's why we're real big on infrastructure spending.
Yeah, as you probably should be. So okay, this is me extending the interview. So
see.
Okay, well, so we're 1 and 1. Okay, but this is a good question because Brother Cary, I'm sure you've seen those articles about Black people who pool their resources, go buy some land, and they're about to build a city. They want to build their own town or city. So so when you see those kind of articles, do you think those people, that list you just gave, of all those categories of civil engineering, do you think that they are thinking about needing all that kind of expertise? Because that's a lot.
No, again, if they don't even know what a civil engineer is, they how it works, they wouldn't know that. Matter of fact, when I hear them talking about buying, I look to see what their steps are. And the first thing you got to do is investigate your land. You want to make sure you need a geotech guy to make sure the land you can grow on, or it's going to be feasible if they're talking about building something. But if you don't do all that, if you don't do the investigative work, you're not going to know. Right. And it's really hard in general. I think the general public, because they don't do a good job of sort of kind of explaining what we do. But the bigger problem is people look at engineering, they look at prestige and how much money they think they make.
Sure.
And to me, that's the part I think is unfortunate. Like I said, it takes away. And that's why I say we're civil. We're at the bottom of the list when it comes to making money, but people don't realize the significance we have. So.
Yeah, you would think that would be the reverse, because without civil engineers, you have no city.
Yep.
I mean, literally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why my thing is we need to encourage more of us to get engaged in it, because we need those are the people that can create the cities, like I said, and the infrastructure and the water, everything is critical. They're the ones to do it.
So Brother Cary, what kind of high school student were you? Would you be one of the quote unquote nerdy ones that led you to be an engineer? Did you know someone who was an engineer? What kind of high school student were you, and what led you to engineering?
Well, see, I thought, again, as a kid, I thought I wanted to be, first I thought I would be an architect like most people. And I said, no, I thought I like engineering sounded kind of interesting because it got more into the science and stuff. So then I heard architectural engineering, but then I found out a lot of schools that's not a specific, a specific area of architecture engineering. And then when I went to school, they offered civil engineering. And when I looked at what civil engineers did, I said, this is kind of close to what I wanted.
This was your thought process in high school?
Well, in high school, I knew I wanted to get into engineering. I wanted to do something to be creative.
So you were different. So you said like most people, they want to be architects.
Yes.
Most black kids, they think about being no damn architect. So what kind of high school did you go to?
No. A lot of people, a lot more friends. There are a lot more black architects out here.
Back then.
Oh, it's still now. It's still now. Oh yeah.
You think a lot of people will be architects now?
I have a friend who graduated when I did and he was going to school to be an architect.
Okay.
And a family friend, and she's a young lady. Aspen just graduated with her master's not too long ago. Okay. But she's an architect.
All right.
Yeah.
And technically, architects are creative artists, because the whole idea is this will come up with an idea to create, this whatever you're trying to build.
Okay.
And that's where those of us in engineers have issues with architects, because they get the credit for the pretty building. What people don't realize is the engineers have got to make sure that building can function, it can work. That's the part you don't know. And then of course, make sure we know what it costs. But that's just outside. But no, most people think of architect, because people think about buildings, they think about structures.
Yeah.
They think more of architect. They don't think about engineering.
Sure.
And so I got a sense of actually, when I wanted to be a chemist at first, I thought I did, because I was playing the chemistry set. But no, I said, no, that's not what I want to do. So anyway, I got interested in engineering. I started doing the research, and I said, it looked like that was something I wanted to do. Didn't want to be an architect. The schools I look at didn't have architectural engineering, and I wasn't clear on what that was. So so I ended up picking civil engineering, and I got a quick story I can add on that. When I got summer internships when I was in college, we had an opportunity. I had an opportunity to make a long story short, twice as much in minimum wage, where working as like for a utility company. Mm-hmm. Whereas the job working in the Department of Transportation was minimum wage. Now I was in college at the time, and I took the job with the minimum wage. And when I took that job, worked with the Department of Transportation, and I actually got a chance to help manage construction projects on the highway, and I loved it. And I realized I made a choice between the money and the job, and it worked. So it worked for me, and that's why I've been doing civil ever since.
So can you remember the first time that you had the thought that I want to become an
engineer?
Yeah. How old were you?
I was in high school then.
Okay.
Because at that time, I wouldn't call me a nerdy kid. I was the one I took physics and chemistry and all that stuff in high school. Okay. Most people were trying to get past it. So at that time I realized, and they talked about what the opportunities were in different areas. So I said, the engineering sounded interesting to me. So that's why I said, let me check out. And unfortunately, I didn't know any black engineers. You're right. But I didn't know any white engineers for that matter.
That was going to be my next question to you was, did you or were you a part of the NSB program, the National Society of Black Engineers?
Yes and no. And unfortunately, it's for the same reason. NSB, in a sense, did not cater to civil engineers. Nesby catered to the mechanical electrical because the big corporations were, like the petroleum companies, and they were looking for mechanical electrical. They weren't necessarily looking for civil. So they were always typically the sponsor. So Nesby sort of catered toward them, and I always kind of felt we were left in the back, but it was okay. Like I said, I saw now, and I would use the opportunity to try to meet other civil engineers. And like I said, you would meet a few Black people that at the time they were the civil engineers, but the Nesby program, yeah, it was there. And I tried to be active, but as far as what they geared for me, just being honest and transparent, as a civil engineer, it wasn't as much as they were doing for the mechanical, the electrical, the chemical.
Yeah. Yep, I can see that. I can definitely see that. My son was a part of the Denver chapter here a few years ago.
Nesby? He's an engineer?
Yeah, we actually, and this was when he was in middle school. He's now 16, but we actually got the chapter back started in Denver. I don't know if it's still up and going, but yeah.
Yeah, I need to talk to him if he wants to be an engineer. We need to get him.
So did you play sports in high school, Brother Cary?
Wait, where are you going? We talk about sports. No, I'm
interested in people's backgrounds as to how they got to be where they are. And again, not everybody plays sports. Just a question.
No, actually, I was a nerd. I have three brothers. They did one played football and basketball, one ran track, one ran two played basketball. One played football and basketball, one played basketball, another one ran track. Mm-hmm. I was the band student council guy. That was me.
You one of those students? Yeah.
What's that?
I said, so you were one of those students.
Yeah, in the band. Yeah.
But I say that in jest because I was the vice president of the chess club. So yeah, but I also play sports.
Okay.
So I don't poo-poo the non-athletes because I'm a bit of both. So I think that's awesome that at an early age you were on that path and it led you to coming in engineer because you already know we need more engineers. We don't need more. We need more engineers, and that's a good thing.
Now let me put an asterisk. Now I did play the street ball in the neighborhood. I played the softball and but I didn't play baseball. One brother played baseball team. But I played the stuff in the streets. Everybody else, I just didn't play it formally at school. Okay. And I'll be honest with you, the problem with it was because everybody expected me to follow my brother, do what he's doing. And I'm one of those people. I would do the opposite with everybody. Yeah, the coaches would encourage me wanted to recruit me to come play basketball. I'm like, that wasn't my priority at the time. So anyway, so I was more the nerd. Huh?
There are 4 of you guys?
Yes.
All brothers? No sisters?
Yes. No sisters. No.
And where do you fall in the lineup?
I'm number 2.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like the oldest one played football and basketball, and then the one right under me ran track, and then the youngest one played basketball.
That's interesting. There are 5 of us, and I'm the youngest of 5.
So, oh, really?
Yeah.
No wonder. I can tell.
Huh?
I can tell. But go
no, you can't. Shut up. And my oldest brother, he could have actually gone to school to be an architect because his drawing ability was
you see that?
Awesome. Yeah. But he got caught up in some things that didn't go that route.
Yeah.
But he was a hell of an athlete. He played quarterback and quarterback. I mean, he's awesome. But anyway, blah blah blah. Okay, so after.
I'm sorry, you got to remember too, and when you especially go down, you're competing with so many different people. I'm not trying to compete with everybody else. You got 20 people trying to get on a team, or 30 people trying to get on the team. I mean, go ahead, y'all play the team. I'll find something else to do.
I think that was a smart move, brother.
No, I'm saying I could now if I gone to the Catholic school where I was the only, maybe 1 or 2 kids, and maybe I would have thought about it. But
Yeah. And you grew up in Mississippi, right?
In Jackson, Mississippi, yes.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. All right.
Okay, graduated from the public schools. I tell people, I really appreciate the education I got because I learned a whole lot there, a whole lot. Now, of course, there are other issues that people are going to decide, but I think I got the education that I got a good education. That's where I got my physics and math and encouraged me to go to college to get into the engineering. So.
You think the education you got coming up is the same?
Yeah, in the public schools at the time. Now it's not the same. I don't think it's the same now. But I'm just saying back then. Yeah. Back then, despite all the transition and stuff.
Yeah. Amen. Okay, so after high school, you knew you wanted to be an engineer. You went to college to be, and what college did you go to?
No, what it was, I went to Morehouse College, and I was actually trying to go to Howard because they had the engineering program there. But my family wanted me to go to South. But then Morehouse had a program with Georgia Tech,
Okay.
So that was the thing that sealed it. So I said, you can go to one school for 3 years, get one degree, and then two the other, and you get both degrees together at the time. Even though that didn't work out for me, and I had a different route, but that was the concept behind me going there to go to school.
Okay. And after college, after you graduated, your first job, you went straight into the engineering field, or did you do some other things in between?
No, well, what happened is I told you I did the internship with the Department of Transportation.
Yep.
That led me get an internship and a part-time job working with the subway system in Atlanta, and that was my first Black mentor / manager that I had. And because he hired me right off the bat, and it was great. I mean, I learned a lot from him. So that gave me experience. But when I finished my undergrad degree, I spent a year at Georgia Tech. I didn't finish it for several different reasons. So I decided I still want to go back to get my engineering degree. So fortunately, my background I had at Georgia Tech and Morehouse allowed me to get my master's at the University of Michigan in construction engineering management. So like I said, I think I was blessed. Things worked out.
Yeah, amen.
For me, the way I wanted to go. So I had the experience. I got that experience before I left and went to graduate school. So then when I got in graduate school, I found a part-time job working in construction as well. And then from there, I started working permanently in it. Yes.
So how many years would you say you've been doing the civil engineering, construction thing? How many years total do you think?
Ooh.
I know.
Ooh.
I know.
35 years, something like that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because I technically started doing it in my junior year in college, which was 83, 84.
Wow.
Up until now. Yeah, I was fortunate to kind of find something in my area, like I said, and always be able to get some experience wherever I went, despite some of the other issues that was going on. So yeah, anyway.
Amen. Cool. Okay, so this department was called at one point infrastructure and construction, but you wanted me to change it to infrastructure and development. Why? Why did you want?
I made you change both departments.
You did actually, yeah, you did, yeah, and I think it's important that people know why, because words matter, titles matter. Yeah. So I was thinking infrastructure and construction, but you said no, infrastructure and development, and I'm saying what was your thinking and why did you want that changed?
Well, the thing is, because construction is only one component. It's a subcomponent of infrastructure and development.
Okay.
If you're going to do an infrastructure program, once you put idea, you hire somebody in construction to actually implement the program.
Right.
If you're doing real estate development, you still got to come up with the idea, but then construction comes in as part of the program.
Okay.
So my thing is for BGN is to let's look at overall the infrastructure program, whereas in some city or across the world, or we look at a development program. You look at that way first, and then from that point you figure out how we build it.
So have you by any chance seen the current project that our youth program is working on with rehabbing that house? Have you seen that, any of that stuff? No,
I've only seen a video, and I think I inquired you in one of our last conversations how that was going.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're still in the fundraising stages, but that's going fairly well. And I'm bringing that up to ask you, how could an inner city youth program, how could they get more of the engineering or STEM stuff started to be a part of that program? Would they reach out to a Cary Jr. in their city and go from there, or is there an organization, or how does that work if I wanted to get more engineering stuff involved in what we're doing?
That's actually a good question, because that's one of the issues and challenges I've had as I've come along, because everything I've learned, I want to try to share.
Yep.
I would start with maybe a NSBE chapter in the Houston area. Now, again, if you're talking about engineering, it's one thing. If you're talking about the whole construction side, like a licensed builder type thing, that's a little bit different. But you still maybe like to have somebody from that side too, maybe help you with that particular project. I would start with that, because that's one of the challenges. I don't know if it was everywhere else, but one of the things that really kind of bothered me that I couldn't get other engineers to, because I did a lot of, I go to schools and talk to people about, of course, they didn't know what it was, but just give them a general idea of what it was all about.
Yeah.
And even set up field trips and things of that sort.
Okay.
But it was really hard to get some of my colleagues to get out, and I understand family issues, things of that sort.
Yeah.
But I thought it was important that we had to do a better job of trying to try to get out so people understand what it is.
That's right.
Even through Society of Civil Engineers, I got very active with them again, because civil engineering, I'm telling you, the percentage of those of us in there is very small.
Yeah.
And they typically are very conservative. And you go to stuff, and obviously you can kind of tell what they're thinking about politically, and I just try to avoid all that.
Right.
But the other part, when I got very active, I'm telling you, it's very weird. It's one of the few places I would go to a conference of 2,000 people, and people walk up to me and tell me about my name, and I don't have any idea who they are. It's only because I'm one of the few people of color that are around doing things, and so they know who I am. They'll come talking to me like I'm supposed to know that. I'm like, they're not wearing a name tag. Who is that? But it's just kind of weird. But the few of us that would go to those conferences, we would say, what we need to do to try to get more of us into the field. And that's one of the things civil engineers don't market themselves that well. And then even black engineers in general, I don't think we do enough as we can. And they're STEM programs. We have them in Detroit here as well. But I think you got to reach out to the middle school, which means you need to go to those schools. Yeah. And work with those kids. I mean, I got involved with a robotics program, which sort of engineering too, to try to get them. I've done that kind of thing too. But again, it's to me, I feel awkward when I go and I always pick the inner city school to go to mentor. Yeah. And when you see all the inner city school mentors are all white and they're coming from the suburbs to come work with our children. When I know there are other, engineers out there, and like I said, so I can't. I can't sit and make saying they're going to be. People have other family things of that sort too. But I say, so did I. And I just thought them. But I just thought important. You need to give out some of your time, and some of the stories you hear, and you just. I tell you, you really. It hurts. I won't say hurts your heart what the kids are going through, but then when you see that really they're bright about trying to learn this stuff, sure. I think it's great. We just need to figure out a way to follow, get our infrastructure in place.
Right. Yeah. And I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. And the last thing we say, and the last thing I want to say, with my involvement with ASCE, I knew probably almost every dean of engineering at most of the schools in this country. So if I had a child, somebody that's going to finish high school and want to go into engineering, I could have made a phone call and they could have got a full ride, because all the schools are looking for more, students of color to get into their programs. Yeah. So, but the thing is, I knew people, but I didn't know students who were interested in going. So I kind of felt like, that was a waste of resource.
We are going to fix that real quick. Shannon?
I'm telling you what we're doing.
But this is when I was real active with them now. I'm not as active now. Some of the people may be in place, but not all of them. And I'm still active with them, just not at the level.
You know more than I know, so I can just pick your brain on what you've done and just take it from there. So the fact that you've tried means that I don't have to try and create it because you've already done it. Yeah.
What's that?
Create a program by which we can get Black kids involved with engineering.
Yeah. That stuff. You know what? Like I said, I can share it. They're probably, if I go to the organization, they got stuff already out there. You can just know how to become an engineer or what it's all about. It's very simple stuff for young kids, and it's free too. So we just have to pull it out and get it. Cool. But yeah.
So my little cousin actually just graduated from Georgia Tech, and he's actually.
Oh, really?
I want to say he works for Dell in Austin, Texas, but I'm not positively sure, but he did graduate from Georgia Tech with his engineering. But my question to you is environmental science. Do you think that's a good segue to get into the environmental engineering aspect? And the reason why I ask is because my son's high school program, they have a program where you can get your high school diploma and your associates. Oh. And they just started their environmental program. I think this is their second year of having that program active. And the reason why I ask is if that's a good segue, that's something that I could encourage some of the students looking more into is on the environmental side, in a state or local area.
Yeah, right. Good. Well, as long as they keep up with the math and science, that's all. Just take the classes, they may not be a prerequisite for that, but if you take the chemistry, take the physics if you can, take the calculus or pre-calculus, whatever it is. Take whatever your school could have, because then that's going to prepare you for anything once you get out. And if you try to go in engineering, that's going to prepare you for it. If you don't do all that stuff and then try to go to a school of engineering, it might be a little bit more of a challenge. And then some schools, they are not, they won't. If you can't do it, they're going to forget about it. Other schools, particularly I know HBCUs, they'll work with you if they still think you have a chance of getting it done. So, Yeah, but I just strongly recommend you take the math and the science. I made my children nowhere near an engineering course. They didn't want to be it. But I strongly encourage them to take the math and the physics and the science. My daughter's in public health, but she told me she was tutoring chemistry or something, tutoring people in chemistry. And my son accidentally took the engineering calculus class while he was in college. He's a psychology major. So, but I'm saying they were able to do it because they had that background already in high school. So, we just got to tell our people, don't be afraid to take it. Say you don't. Good. I didn't make A's in that in high school because I was just getting into it. But I was prepared when I got in college. It made it easy for me to understand and think. So
Brother Cary, for a person who may know nothing about engineering or civil engineering, but they have passions and or skills in areas that could make them a good engineer. What would some of those things be? If a person is passionate about X or has expertise in Y, those things would be a good foundation to be an engineer. What are some of those things?
Now, are we talking about individual students going through college? You talking about like adults who already?
I'm talking about kids in high school who have passions and or skills. I'm saying, what would some of those things be that a parent might say, okay, with that kind of stuff, my child can be an engineer. I'm saying, what are some of those things?
Well, I think it varies, but the main thing, again, like I said, is this: you got to have a desire to want to do something to help the community, improve community. And when you start talking about physical stuff, it's easy to talk about civil engineering, like building stuff. You're talking about in engineering. Excuse me. You can still be on the creative side. I mean, on the artsy side too, as well. But if again, I go back. If you could be on the artsy side, but if you get the foundation of the math and science, they can decide in time they can become an engineer if they wanted to.
Okay.
So, but like I said, but it is no one. I don't think it's one thing because I think everybody's different. Every child's different.
Sure.
But what I do think is when you put programs out there like robotics, and let's just see who goes. Let's see who's interested in that because the robotics, you got to do all the programming and make this thing work. Mm-hmm. If you see a child that's interested in doing stuff like that, or even for that matter, putting together puzzles, that stuff that requires you to put your mind together, that they could be. Now, where I don't know right now with most of the children these days going to those video games and playing all that, it could, but I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. When they're going around blowing up people and going through, but I mean, that stuff is amazing what they're going through there, what it takes, yeah. But I'm saying, they could have it. Most of them will think about how can they create those games.
Sure.
And see, in a sense, yeah. that's an engineering as well.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, but just the fact that they're doing it and using their mind to think and move around, that to me, that kind of stuff I think can help as well. So like I said, I think it's going to vary what the direction you come from. Okay. But I think if you put stuff out there, like I said, in robotics or just some other kind of engineering, we have future cities where a group of kids from school get together and they create a city, mm-hmm. And what I do is ask them a question. Wait, okay, you want to build this building? Stuff to make them think about. Okay, that's what an engineer would do.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I'm saying that's the other. I don't know if you have future cities out. You should. I think it's a national program, but mm-hmm. those things that put out there about a bigger program, like I said, you could do something that are simple, like I keep saying robotics, but yeah, I don't know. A kid had to do something. You have to watch them, and then what you do, just give them something. Just try to get them exposure. There is no. Well, I guess one of the obvious, there should be some kind of assessment that we do with children as they come along so you can see what their abilities are. Then you kind of say, okay, not necessarily force them to go in the area, but then, you might want to look at this.
Yeah, but at least you'll know what their natural strength and our
gifts are. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
We need to do that with our people anyway.
Well, and that's a part of our youth program to start doing that as early as possible, ages 3, 4, 5. To try and get an understanding where their child is naturally strong at, and then we can build upon it from there. Okay, next question. So Brother Cary, why? I'm only on number 9, and trust me, we got a ways to go.
Oh, you're pretty good. Well, no, you skipped me, so that's good. Go ahead.
You've already answered them. That's why I'm skipping.
Okay, go ahead.
Why is having a conscious, community-centric, focused civil engineer, as opposed to just someone who's qualified as a civil engineer, why is that so important to the forward progress of the Black community and or predominantly Black space in this country? So why is having a civil engineer who's conscious about being Black, why is that important as opposed to just having a civil engineer on board?
Well, again, like I said, if you're talking about if the civil engineer is Black, like I said, I'm assuming that he or she understands, the significance of the profession, what we do, as civil engineers. have a desire like me to try to influence or improve our communities using that expertise, so to speak. That's what I think. But they have to be conscious. But they can be conscious, but they have to feel that they're making an impact, or they got to feel they can take their skills to want to do an impact. But the problem is we don't have enough. We just don't have the infrastructure in place. Because in my opinion, there's no way you can have a Black city with Black political places. We don't have Black engineers in some of these, water, all these positions that can bring on Black and other younger to learn and train.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I'm in Detroit, I look at it and, unfortunately, we don't have that going on. And I think it's just because, again, we're not aware of the significance of what an engineer can do and the impact they can have on their community. And then the people who are going into it aren't aware of it either.
Yeah, do you think it's also a lack of awareness on how the political process works as far as getting people elected? Who would assign people to those boards as well?
Yes, some of that as well. I mean, yes, some of that as well. But if you're a civil engineer, you should have a desire to get on someone's board. That's what I did, and that's one of the things that you didn't. I think you didn't answer earlier. That's what I got on the Economic Development Board and Planning Commission over in my community. Because I want to make a difference. And then I had to learn. I didn't learn anything from the people. I had to go out and find out myself and learn how stuff worked. Again, but that's just all part of your education. When you learn in engineering, you take ideas, you try to figure out how to make it work for yourself, and that's I was able to do that. And that's why the economic development piece you keep me talking about, a development piece is big on me, because I see the resources out there to be able to do that in our communities. We just don't have enough people that understand that, or trying to get a team together to work on a project like that. We haven't had that happen, at least not that I'm aware of.
So you were thirsty for the knowledge and understanding, which is why you went out and sought it.
Oh yes. I walked in a city council meeting, and they had a proposal coming up about the Downtown Development Authority, and they were talking about expanding things. So I just started asking a bunch of questions. Next thing I know, after the meeting, the city manager asked me to get on the Planning Commission board and the DDA board, and I did. Wow. I served for 18 years.
Okay.
I served, like I said, but I was chair the last 10 of both of those things. But I got a chance to learn a lot. I learned a whole lot about what's going on. I mean, that's what means you do it, but that's just all part of the process. But the part that frustrated me, I learned a lot, but I couldn't relay it back to the people who I was serving. Trying to get them to understand what it was, because it became more personal. People think, oh, he knows too much. Well, he knows all this now, so now I'm a threat to my own community and that kind of thing. But that's
and here you are just trying to share information.
Well, again, like I said, we're going to find a problem. But in our community, I go back and I tell you before, until they see an example of somebody doing something that works. My thing was try to get a project going in our community that would have worked. The people would say, oh, okay, we can trust him now. We see what he did. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what else he can come around. But it's just kind of hard to get to that point. I'm not as assertive aggressive as Brother Craig and forcing people to do stuff. So, I think people recognize what you're doing, and they say, okay, you know what, let's make it work for all of us, because it's never been about me. I told them that all the time. Okay. And as a civil engineer, that's how we think. That's how we think when we do this work. All
right. So with a team of conscious, community-centric, focused civil engineers, what do you think we can accomplish with that kind of team of Black people?
Say that one more time. With the
number 11 with a team.
Conscious.
Number 11.
Yeah, you got to be conscious, because otherwise you won't see the connection with your people.
Yeah. That's true. You're right.
So and again, it's to me, and y'all can correct me if I am wrong. If an engineer or a civil engineer is not conscious, he or she is not thinking about helping the people move forward and are doing better. They're just trying to get paid. So that conscious piece is important. Well, the question is, with a team of conscious, community-centric, focused civil engineers, I'm saying, what could we accomplish with that kind of team?
That's a dream team for me. I would think that's a dream team.
Well, amen. I'm a dreamer. That'd be ideal. What could we do with that?
Yeah. But I'm thinking, but they don't have to be civil engineers. They could just be conscious people who are ambitious and want to learn and want to do something. You can give them the information. They can take it and run. Okay. Because a lot of stuff that we do is still more management, administrative stuff that that really anybody can do. It's just we just specialize in a particular area. But no, to answer your question, oh yeah, we could do a whole lot. And with all the plans and I say that some of the dreams I'd like to see us do, we could do quite a bit.
Give me a short list. Give me a short list of some things that we could do.
No. Well, I think the first step, like I mentioned before, is we need to start identifying our small Black cities and going in there, like I said, because what you call the capital improvement programs, where where you go and figure out what need, what roads need to be fixed, what water system need to be put in place, all that stuff. You put together a program, only gonna cost $10 million. But if you're in a distressed community, the government said we'll pay you. You give us $1 million, we'll give you 10. You come up 100,000, we'll give you a million, whatever it is, to do a project.
Yeah,
and if you do a little bit at a time, you just go ask for a little bit every year. That's a program, construction or whatever going on for 3, 4, 5 years that you got people employed.
Yeah, and
once the infrastructure in place, now people look at your area to come do some other development. And real estate people come in and wonder, okay, let's put houses over here, let's put more businesses and things of that sort. So when I say the infrastructure, I say development, they kind of come hand in hand.
So that kind of team can help make a impoverished, depressed, not very economically strong, predominantly Black space. They can help make that space better.
Yes.
And bring opportunity and business and population to that space to move that space forward. That's what I'm hearing you say, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And why do you call it a dream team?
Well, I'm saying you said all civil engineers. Like I said,
it has to be all civil engineers. I'm just saying people with expertise.
Oh no, I'm saying because if they come to the table, understanding what we're trying to do, understand the bigger purpose.
Yeah.
We can move faster in getting the project done.
Right.
If you get it going, all of a sudden we get awarded $5 million. All of a sudden somebody jump in front and say they want to be in charge of the project because they spend more time than everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Then that's when we start to have the issue. But they all understand where they were. We clap for that. But then we got $5 million for the city. Let's go over to the city over here and see if we can help them get another 4 or 5. And once you get it from one city, every city gonna be calling you to come help them do it.
And that's why I use the term, y'all laughing, conscious, community centric. I'm not just throwing these words out because they don't mean anything. Because if they're conscious and they're focused on the community, you're not gonna have that ego issue.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. The right team. Based on what brother Cary, there are over 1,700 predominantly Black spaces in this country. With the right team of expert of engineering experts, you could take a small space that's predominantly Black and turn it into something that people never thought was possible because of the expertise on the team.
Right,
it's possible with the right team.
And what's going on now? Most of those places, if they're getting improvements, is because they're targeted for gentrification.
Yeah.
Because it's not the people in the community that is required. It's the city. So let's start making improvements over here.
Right.
And they say, values go up. And they say, people are moving. And obviously you see new people. So no, you're absolutely correct. What I'm saying, those are the opportunities that I do see that we have if we can get everybody to understand what.
Right. And we don't understand that, again, conscious, community centric. If we have the right team, we can gentrify ourselves. We can change the lifestyle and the value of our property ourselves with the right team. And that's why I keep using those words. So next question. Could that team of conscious community focused engineers, could they, and this question is key, could they find opportunity abroad in places like Africa?
Well, absolutely. And I've already kind of hinted to you already before, but I'm already investigating opportunities in Africa and the Caribbean right now.
Yep.
And keeping in mind, the most, if not all areas in the African diaspora, they need infrastructure development, right? Just about any place you go, they need.
That's right.
And unfortunately to spur economic development. And right now, who's doing it? The Chinese. The Chinese are coming in and doing it. Or some country that's trying to get there to either get a hold. The U.S. is doing it. There's so they're trying to see some other. They try to figure out how they're going to benefit out of it.
That's right.
So, no, it's possible. It's possible anywhere. Anywhere in the world we have our people, we do. Again, we just need a strategy to be able to get the money to do it, and then a lot of the funding is out there. Same way in the U.S. The money's out there. You just got to know how to get it.
And if we restructure how we spend just a little bit of our money in our own communities, you could have the money in a very short period of time. So the strategy is pretty clear cut. It ain't deep. It's just a matter of putting certain things in place to raise the money to move forward. Okay, so
right. But keep in mind now, when you talk about infrastructure projects, people still not gonna know what you're talking about. I mean,
it's okay.
They can't see the water. They don't understand the water underground, that kind of stuff. They can't understand it. But people who invest in property or real estate, they know what they see what it is.
Sure.
But I'm saying, but if you offer jobs, people see jobs coming from all this stuff that they get to take a benefit for. Like I said, then it's a different. They say, oh, these are opportunities coming to us. That's what we definitely want to be able to take advantage of that.
Sure. And my focus, Brother Cary, is not necessarily on the adults of today. Not necessarily.
Yes.
I'm focused on our youth program is 12 to 18. I'm thinking about the 12-year-olds, the 13-year-olds, the 14-year-olds, introducing them to engineering, civil engineering. So if I say to young people, which I say all the time, our ultimate goal is to teach you guys, you young people, how to either run a city or help run a city, because that's our ultimate vision, in Black Nation. So when they hear, they're like, wow, okay, that changes the nature of the conversation. Then the next question is, okay, well, how do you run a city? Shit, I don't know. I got somebody, we're going to do a Zoom call and you're going to talk to this brother about how you run a city. And from that point, you spark the interest and then it goes from there. And it makes my job easier if I've already piqued their interest for them to have a conversation with someone who understands how it's done. And then we start going from there. So again, it ain't deep. You just can't make it happen without the right team. And that's why I keep using those words.
Well, but other part of it too. Now, we those of us who are in those positions have to be able to reach down. And like I said, I don't think they've done a whole lot. Maybe because people don't. I don't. Maybe it doesn't make a difference. But if you're an engineer, or whatever you are, you kind of talk to children about your job. They're gonna ask a bunch of questions about it. Or they're gonna ask about the money part.
Yeah.
But if you try to get them to understand the significance of what you do,
right?
And how it impacts the community, they'll remember that. Because everybody wants to do. Most kids want to do something to help. They want to help other people or whatever happens. So
yeah.
I mean, he just said something that just had me thinking. I mean, I used to go sit in my kids' classrooms all the time. You remember when we were younger, you would have your parents come in and talk to the kids about what they did. Yeah. They don't have that type of stuff anymore. You know what I'm saying? So it's. I agree with Brother Tamani. We really got to target the youth, but it's that's amazing to even think. Well, those programs we had out there before just no longer exist anymore. It's like they phased out, and it's definitely time for us to bring them back.
But a lot of that's why I challenge the organization like Nat'l. To me, they should have a plan every year. Okay, we're gonna go to all the high schools or talk to the 10th grade or what. You should have a plan where you go, or you mentor or sponsor a particular schools. Mm-hmm. I mean, to me, but see, it's up to us to do that. We wait for other people to come and do so. We have to get up and step up and do it and find a way to make it happen.
Exactly.
And I think in the long run, the kids appreciate it. You may not see it, but I think they appreciate it.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to say, Brother Cary. Sister Shannon makes a very good point, because I'm not sure about when Shannon graduated, because she's younger than you and I, but when we graduated, there were certain things offered in high school, from shop to auto mechanics. Woodwork. I mean, certain things you graduated with some skills that you could really go get a job with. And the fact that they took that stuff out of the school and our children still need it, that means that the community has to step up and fill that gap, which the community can only do if there's a team of people who understand what needs to be done. So if we know, the school system has never really been pro us anyway. Only certain schools get certain resources. We already know that. But every Black child deserves an opportunity to be the best they can be. So we got to step up and start painting the picture of what's possible. And you do that by exposing, and that's another reason why having qualified leaders in Black Gold Nation is so important, so that you can serve as an example. So a kid will know that this Black man on the screen has all of this bullet point of skills and expertise, and he's done this stuff. So when we have conversations about, okay, how do you build this? What do you need to build a city? We have somebody he can talk to. Go ahead.
Wood shop. I was gonna say, I did have wood shop and stuff when I was in school.
Yeah.
Home ec, that was a thing. Sewing, that was a thing. Now
that's right.
Don't know. These kids don't even know how to put thread through a needle.
Right. Seriously, that's sad, but it's true.
Yeah, I will, and those type of things kind of went away to where I'm noticing young girls don't even know how to cook,
No
but
life skills.
they're
No life
now,
skills.
they're now implementing. I know 2 high schools here in Colorado that are in the Denver public school area that have, I guess you could say, the vocational programs or programs with other colleges to where the kids can get an associate's degree, whether it be in business and something. And then there's one where the kids can do like HVAC, barbering, stuff like that. But it's those programs, I had a lot of them when I was in school, but now for like when I'm looking at my kids, they're far and few, but everything's more towards STEM, which is great, but there's no mentoring. There's a disconnect because you guys get these kids in the STEM, but then there's no mentors coming down to really show like, hey, we're doing this. There was a program that my son was in years ago, and it was an engineering program, and I had him in there from the time he was 8 until middle school. But the funding from that program went away, and they were flying in high school and college students from everywhere, and they would have competitions on how to build catapults and different things like that. But it disappeared.
And see that kind of inconsistency hurts. That hurts. And unfortunately, that happens typically in the schools where our children are.
Which again highlights the importance of community stepping up. Whenever the system does what the system does, and they've been doing it since we've been here. We got to step up. So anyway, if you missed the beginning of the show, you're listening to the How to Build a Black Nation with Power podcast, where we seek to understand and bring together the many pieces of our empowerment and freedom puzzle under one unified umbrella as much as possible to ensure we don't become a permanent underclass in the country that was built on the backs of our ancestors. Taking into consideration what our people have done and what so many like this brother here are currently doing, our Empowerment and Freedom March, I know, surprise, surprise, is not starting at square one. So tonight's episode is our 18th episode, and our guest is Brother Cary Jr., who is over the Black Gold Nations. He's currently the Black Gold Nations National Director for our Agribusiness and Food Systems Economics Department, as well as National Infrastructure and Development. Sister Shannon Ingram is a member of the Black Gold Nation in Denver, Colorado. She's my co-host, and she's helping me better formulate this show moving forward so we can reach more Black people. My name is Tamani Mwandani. I'm the founder of the Black Gold Nation. So next question, Brother Cary. Now, as I just said, you're also the National Director of our Agribusiness and Food Systems Economics Department. Your expertise in the development of food systems is paramount, of course, per your role within BGN, because if we can't feed ourselves and we can't connect the local food systems, then we all gonna be in trouble. So for those who don't already know or didn't see the first interview, tell us a bit more about SIMPA and why you started it.
Well, I think you mentioned at the beginning, we're a rural Black farmer cooperative outside the city of Detroit. The whole idea was to try to help those farmers get their product, build capacity, get their product and stuff into the city. We were specifically targeting what we call food insecure neighborhoods. Neighborhoods don't have a decent grocery store or things of that sort. So that's where we started off. Actually, what we're doing now, we've collaborated with some urban farmers now. So we have a collaborative of urban and rural farmers that are growing product that we're looking to sell to a couple of restaurants, actually Black restaurants that are very interested in our stuff. And we're also looking to create more like food stands or other food outlets like small produce stores in the neighborhood. Of course, it's all taking time. It's taking a little bit of a challenge because we need that distribution piece in the middle to get everything moving. But the whole concept, what we're talking about creating here is what we want to create a model and just take it to every major city to go with. I'm already collaborating with the people in the Chicago area, just trying to help do the same. We're trying to help them do the same thing. And then we're looking at working in Ohio too, in the Cleveland area. But the whole idea is what we're trying to do overall is just let people understand that food systems is really the key to establish economic development in our communities. The food economy is what we need to take advantage of. We spend tons of money on food, but we spend out of our community. We need to put it back in. Mm-hmm. So along with with the whole food system piece, there's a food system infrastructure we're trying to create, and then with that being said, that whole infrastructure, I roll over to, we talk about the current infrastructure system. When I mean the food system infrastructure, we take these cities and we take these neighborhoods that we just talked about, and we put our food distribution places in those cities, then would then spur economic development within those cities. But at the same time, we're creating this food chain of getting food from Black farmers across the country to feed our people where it needs to be fed. So that's pretty much give you an idea of what we're trying to do. And you know, it's taking a while, but I'm starting to see we in a little bit of motion. But I go back to what I'm telling you, until we get our model complete and moving successfully, once people see that, I think they are going to jump on board. But we also got to watch out for sabotage.
Sure. Yeah, because that sabotage, you know, like the sun rising, is inevitable at some point. You know, and sadly, it's probably going to be tried by somebody that looks like you and I before somebody. So, Brother Cary, how does your being the founder of SIMPA play a role in also being the national director of infrastructure and development? How does that help you understanding the importance of a SIMPA? How does that help you with infrastructure and development, if at all? Maybe they're completely separate.
No. Well, actually, it's the other way around. My experience as in civil engineering.
Oh.
And I understand the coordination, all that, and putting together systems.
Okay.
Is what made it easy for me to translate over to a different product. The only difference is we're talking about food.
Yeah.
With SIMPA. With the infrastructure, we're talking about just creating components to help a city move. I'm talking with SIMPA, we're talking about food. And what I'm trying to do is find a way to combine them both, where they kind of interact with each other, to get things going. So
okay,
so I don't know if that making sense.
So the engineering helps with the food systems development.
Piece,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. That's why I keep saying food system instead of just farming, because it's all about connecting all the dots, making sure everything works. And then right now, all this technology coming into farming, the Black farmers, we're behind, we're trying to get all that caught up. So yeah, I'm saying, so yeah, no, my engineering background really helped me as far as understanding the whole food system piece.
Okay. Yeah. Is the technology coming into the farming industry, is it a bad thing?
Oh no, it's great. No, it's good.
Okay.
No, we're talking about farmers being able to use drones to be able to monitor their whole field instead of having to walk through all themselves,
Yeah.
And, monitor disease and all that kind of stuff, or we just talking about the technology of using the phone for them to be able to just collect data and all this kind of stuff. Okay. Or for that matter, you're talking about tractors that are working automated by them, so they don't have to work on the tractor, go out and do the stuff themselves. So it's out there and it's moving fast, but Black farmers, we're way behind, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that was my next question. It sounds great, but are Black farmers being included in that technology?
Well, they're behind because just the whole, there's a huge gap between where they are and where they're going. Right now, there's so much money been thrown out there by USDA under this, I think, in the current administration, so much money thrown out there, and everything they say, you got to work with socially disadvantaged farmers.
Yeah.
But the problem is, like I said, most of our farmers are not at the level, you know what I'm saying, where they can actually have a great benefit from it. But what's got to happen, you got to kind of bring it down to a primal level, to understand what I'm saying. You got to bring it to a primal level. And what I'm trying to do is get those of us that don't give us money to bring it to their primer level, to get them to hold their hands and show them how this stuff works.
Are you saying primer, Primer? Primer?
Yes, yeah. You got to bring it down.
Explain what you mean by that.
Well, I mean, the thing is, most of the information, most of the funding out there, and most of the everything if you try to work with USDA and get your products moved, like I said, Black farmers have been so much has gone on, and so much the process and stuff is going so far advanced that our farmers are so far behind. Mm-hmm. There's a whole lot that they didn't learn to be able to get to the system, and most of our older farmers don't want to. They don't want to. You can't send them to school to do anything. So we either got to figure out a way to hold their hand through the process, or we got to recruit all these young people real fast to get in place to start taking over these farms, so they can catch up, take advantage of a lot of this, the funding and all the technology and stuff that's going on. Yeah, and we're trying to figure out how to do a little bit of both. How do we get it moving one way or the other?
Yeah, and I think that goes back to what we were saying, what we've been saying. We have to find a way to tap into a younger demographic.
Yes.
To start introducing them to the importance of, the technology, how it's being used, controlling the system that govern how you eat and what you eat. So I think all of that, again, is the whole reason, Black Nation is here. So,
yeah. No, and I'll just say, they've announced the first, what they call next gen agriculture conference, which I'm going to go to, and we're going to try to send some young people to, just to see, how it goes. Again, like I said, it depends on who's putting it on and what it is, but I want to see what kind of information they're going to present
Okay.
So we can see if that's what we need to try to implement across,
Awesome.
across the country, at least to help our people, regardless what city they're in.
Sure.
Because we know that the kids know how to use those phones, and they know how to use apps. And if we can create apps that our farmers need, we get them to operate the farm. They got a job right there as a consultant, easy. Working on the phone. Yeah. So we got to figure out how to connect all of that.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Okay. So what are your short 1 to 3 years, mid 5 to 7 years, and long term 10 years plus goals for the National Infrastructure and Development Department?
Very, very easy. The first one is develop a solid program that can be funded regardless of the location to implement in all of Black areas in the U.S. The second thing is to plan to implement a program in the Caribbean. And then the third was to plan to implement the program in Africa.
Okay. Amen. Next question.
I know you got another question on this kind of.
Oh no, brother. Hey man, I like short answers. They work for me. And trust me, if there's a follow-up, I will ask. All right. So the Black Gold National Leadership Election has been pushed back to the end of August to give me more time, Shannon and I, more time to find the right candidates, interview them, all that good stuff. At the end of that election, Brother Cary, ideally, you're going to have 5 to 7 Black people who make up your cabinet and who speak your language in a number of areas in engineering. What would be your initial marching orders for them, your initial 1, 2, 3 steps for your new cabinet? What will you have them do initially?
Well, the first thing is they needed to review all those documents. I have in a file already for the infrastructure development because I list the cities, I list programs, I list statistics. Everything. They need to go through and review that to get it so they can understand what it is, and then we need to try to maybe interview with them to assess their passion, the desire, what they want to do. They tell us, but at the same time, we look and try to recognize what their ability really is and what they have a skill set for.
Okay.
Then the third thing is just to give them some tasks to do within the group. That's probably like more research, or more detailed research. For example, let's think about targeting a city we want to try to do infrastructure with.
Yeah.
Somebody get in touch with the policy leaders there. Somebody we talk about. We look and see what kind of funding opportunities out there. Blah blah blah. But like I said, a lot of stuff I kind of know what the work we need to do, but we need somebody to spend the time to actually do the effort to get the information.
And
once all that stuff's together, then we can move forward somewhere, like I said, and start trying to make something happen. So.
Yeah, and I think that last statement might be the first step in this next question. I think what you just said might be the first step in the next question, because the next question is going into 2023, your cabinet is going to have 15 to 20 teams of Black people around the country, and every team is going to have at least one person representing infrastructure and development in several different cities. So the question is, and again, I think you just answered it, but the question is, what will be your marching orders for that particular group? These local teams on the ground in these cities, what are going to be the first 1, 2, 3 steps that you have them do per the overall vision and our plan for the department?
Well, I'm assuming that each one of those leaders, if they aren't one of the people that I mentioned in the first group, but the people in the first group are going to be pretty much the leadership national thing, and going to make sure that those people get the information that we share with them. So at least we make sure the information goes down.
Yeah.
And like I said, and the more, so that's like 3 levels down. The further we go grassroots down, actually that's going to be the better, because they probably already have relationships and know people in those cities. So when we do research, they can give us more detailed stuff. And then, identify the location to put something, or they come with an idea that we can work with. Again, that we can move forward on that. But the whole idea is have the cabinet, like you said, I guess with what I'm called the core leadership.
Sure, yeah.
Then under those people, these representatives you're talking about are going to follow where they are, whether regional or whatever else. And then we're just going to share the same information goes down. And then, like I said, we can probably get more detail and actually get the grassroots on the ground project actually running. Hopefully they'll be prepared with the project once we figure out what it is and once we get it funded.
So there will be no specific orders for that local team. They'll just have to wait for plans from the national to come down. Is that what you're saying?
No, because every area is going to be different. Everybody's got different characters. So we have to figure out an assessment of those areas to see one area may need one particular thing better than another.
Okay.
One area may have the resources, but they just don't know how to get it. But
Right.
like I said, depending on what the area is, we can kind of curtail based on the leadership. we should know the different things. We know the 4, 5, and 6 things they need to have, and whichever area has whichever area actually that has more of what we already did and we need, we want to start with that because that means that project can move faster.
Okay, I got you.
But like I said, but everyone just depends on the assessment, see what the needs are. Then we got to determine at that time what actually needs to be done.
Yeah, so that's going to be very important because what I try to get people to do once they have a team of at least 5 people is get them to produce what we call a SWOT analysis. Based on what does it mean to be Black where you live? Where are Black people strong where you live? What are the weakness, opportunities, and threats? And being in Detroit, at least the last time I was there, Detroit has a lot of vacant, abandoned buildings. A lot can be done with that if you have the right, again, conscious, community-centric team of people that can, a person without skills, expertise, and/or vision will only see an abandoned building. But a civil engineer might see something completely different.
Well, I do. I love buildings.
And I know you do.
I love abandoned buildings.
So I think having that national cabinet who understands what's possible, marry that with people on the ground who can say, we're strong in these areas, and in those areas could be a civil engineering paradise. Because Black people are on the ground in these cities. They know what's there, they know what's happening, blah, blah, blah. So I think that there's most certainly going to be a powerful marriage as we continue to move forward, because again, that's the whole idea of having the election and having teams on the ground that are ready to do. Okay, my last question for you is, if you could only give people who watch this live, who see the recording, if you could only give them one takeaway from tonight's interview that they will have with them for the rest of their lives, you only get one, based on everything we've discussed, everything we've talked about, what would that one takeaway be?
Can it be more than one sentence?
You get one takeaway.
Okay.
So it can be. I'll give you 3. Go ahead. I'll give you 3. Go ahead.
No. I thought about that. I had to think about that question. Anyway, this is my quote.
Come on.
Everything we talked about through this whole thing is possible, but it's going to take the understanding and patience and the willingness to listen and learn, and to make an effort to what is needed. And most of all, we need collaboration. We need in order to build that solid network. And then, like I said, with the solid network, you also got to have an understanding of what the impact is going to be, not only for us but for the generations to come. If we can sit down and figure out all this stuff and be patient about, okay, this is what we want to do, what the plan is to go. But like everything else, ego, selfishness, personal agendas, lack of transparency in our network, and a lack of focus on the community benefit and future will continue to hold us back. So in other words, I'm saying we have to understand what's important. We understand the significance of what it is. We can't look for immediate gratification. Immediate gratification, I feel good about doing the right thing. But if you're looking for something immediate just for you, then it's we're never going to get as far as we can go. But that stuff has always held us back, and it keeps continuing to hold us back. But we got to think about our future. Like I said, we got to think about our community, the community benefits. And if we do that, I think we can move. I think we move forward. And I think most civil engineers, because we go into the area, we kind of think about that stuff, but we just a lot of them hadn't figured out how do we make that work? How do we make it work for our community the way it should be? So anyway, I don't know if that answered your question, but it did. That's my speech.
Yeah, that's solid. Okay, before I get to my last closeout, Shan, do you have anything you want to ask or mention before we close it out?
No, he pretty much summed it all up, but I do appreciate you and answering the questions I did have.
Oh, no problem. Like I said, I just hope it was a relay again. I think I'll try to relay somewhere where I guess I'll say what a lay person can understand what we're talking about. I know a lot of stuff we get, he knows I get way off and getting a lot of technical things, but that's me as an engineer. But I figure the more detail I share something, the better you have an understanding of, so. But I'm hoping people listen to this thing, I hope they can take away something, take that away from it. Like I said, we can do this. We just need people to be patient and like I say, want to work together.
Yeah.
Collaboration is a big thing we keep talking about. We over and over again when I'm meeting our people. It's all about working together. You can go out there and run on your own, but I guarantee you're not going to work. No, I forgot to say. I'll have it for the next post. Something about what is it? You could move fast, and alone and get.
Oh, if you want to move fast, move alone. But if you want to go further, move with the group, something like that.
Yes, yeah, something is, yeah, you want to get more. Yeah, so that's all I do. I'll find the next time I'll use that. And I'll put my name on that quote too before you.
So in closing, I want everybody to keep in mind that Brother Cary is holds two very, very, very important positions in Black Gold Nation. He's a national director for our agribusiness and food systems economics department. Also over, I don't know why he's laughing. He's also over infrastructure and development. The Black Gold Nation is focused on Black people controlling cities, as we always say. If we can control a city, then all of those things that affect the lives of Black people on the grassroots level, we can change because we are in control of that city and that space. As Brother Cary has made mention several times, you can't control a city, run a city, build a city without engineers, specifically civil ones who cover those 6 areas that he talked about. You can't do certain things. I don't care how Black you think you are. You simply can't do certain things if you don't have certain levels of expertise, people who are part of your team. And they have to understand at the end of the day, again, as Brother Cary repeatedly said, it can't just be about making money. It has to be about helping your people move forward, helping your people survive and live and thrive and eat and be safe and be secure and all that good stuff. We're having the national leadership election because we understand and we know that there are several Cary Juniors out there who do specific things that Black people need to move forward. We just got to find them. He's not the only brother with some expertise and some letters after his name that has an undying love and commitment to Black people. There's several letters. Find them. And we've been pushing them. We got a few of them in Black Gold Nation, but we don't have enough. We can't afford to just have one Cary Jr. We got to have about 10 of them. Because if we only have one, if that one gets targeted and he's no longer here,
absolutely.
And more importantly, we got to find the Cary Juniors so they can train the Cary Juniors, the 12, 13, 14-year-olds who are coming behind us. Inevitably, they're going to be adults at some point. So if you know a quote unquote Cary Jr., a Black person who understands that this thing is about power and expertise and they care about Black people and Black children, and you think that they would like to lead Black people in a specific area, then go to our website, blackgoldnation.com, click on solutions and click on leadership election. Learn more about what we're doing, how we're doing it, and nominate that person for national leadership. This is an election. My goal is to find as many Cary Juniors as possible who speak this brother's language in engineering so that he will have a candidate of expertise. I kept talking about conscious community centric and they were laughing at me, but damn it, that's important. So if we have, as he said, if we have a team of engineers who speak the same language, or people who are open to learning, who are willing to follow the lead of someone who knows what they're doing, there's nothing that we can accomplish. This brother brings expertise to the table in both agriculture and engineering, and we need both if we're going to move forward and win. But again, we need so much more in several different areas. So if you know someone who has the expertise, go to our website and nominate them. And if you yourself have expertise in any of these areas on this flyer and you think that you would like to help move the Black needle forward, then we encourage you to nominate yourself so that we can build what we need to build to move our people and our communities forward. Because at the end of the day, as I always say, ain't nobody coming to save Black people because nobody cares. Our communities exist for people to prey upon and get rich, and that is what they do. We're about to launch our youth program, our summer camp, our first one, July 1st. And I'm thinking about the different themes I want to have every week. So I'm watching the movie 12 Years a Slave to try to get an idea if I should show that movie. Heavy. The things that have been done to our people, it is most certainly a blessing that it's a miracle that we're still here, considering what's been done to the mentality, the spirit, the physical bodies of our people. I think we're still here because the only thing that can stop us is us. But we can never build what we need to build if we don't have the right leadership and expertise. So this election is important for a lot of reasons, because nobody's going to give us freedom. Nobody's going to give us power. Nobody's going to give us the solutions and the mechanisms to build and do and have, because again, nobody cares. So with that in mind, I thank everybody for watching it live, for watching the recording. And of course, Brother Cary, I always thank you for your time and your expertise, because again, you know, without people like you, it's simply not going to work. And of course, I always thank Sister Shannon, because she has to be like me, open to learning from people like you, so we can teach other people, so we can keep it moving. So on that note, brother, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Sister Shannon, thank you as well. And I like to end all of my presentations, interviews, or whatever the hell I call these things, with two things. The first one, no one can do everything, but if everyone does something, everything will get done. And absolutely, always remember that nothing is more sacred than the empowerment and freedom of Black people, because if Black people don't make it, we're not gonna make it, our kids aren't gonna make it, and our family sure as hell won't make it. But if we put the nation first and build for Black people first, then we can protect, build, and do, and get back to running the planet like we used to. So with that, thank you guys very much. God bless, and I will be in touch. Y'all take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.